Everyone in this room today, everyone you know, and everyone they know has or has had someone close to them ravaged by the toxicity of radiation and chemotherapy. All too many have perished, not because of the cancer, but because of the treatment. Now, to put my comments into context, take a brief moment to reflect on the extreme suffering and torture that you or someone close to you has had to endure. Were it not for an Israeli scientist funded by the ICRF, I would be dead today. A decade ago, I was diagnosed with leukemia, and thanks to a miracle drug, Gleevec, what was a fatal condition is now a chronic one. Today, I live a full and active life with no restrictions other than not being able to eat grapefruit, which is no great hardship because I didn't like the fruit anyway. I recall so well the first visit with my oncologist, Dr. Jeffrey Lipton, at the Princess Margaret Hospital in Toronto. There were a number of people in the waiting room, giddy with delight, talking about this new wonder drug. It was like they found the fountain of youth. And my first comment to Dr. Lipton was, whatever these people are on, I want it. Now, Gleevec had just come off of clinical trial, and my wish came true. A couple of years ago, when I went for my regular 6-month blood work, Dr. Lipton, who usually has a pretty good bedside manner, walked in and bluntly said, I've got good news and bad news. Which one do you want first? I said, well, let's go with the bad. You're going to die, he said. I said, okay, what's the good news? I said, well, you're not going to die of this. I have difficulty responding to being referred to as a cancer survivor because I did not go through the horrible suffering that most cancer patients go through. I did not have 1 day of downtime, 0 side effects, usually associated with the way cancer is treated. Each day I take a single pill which directly targets the cancer cell without harming healthy ones. Emotionally, however, I did go through what most do, fearing the unknown and anticipating what I have seen others go through. Another dynamic was facing the reality that as there is a beginning, there is also an end, which caused me to reflect on the reason for being. While I had lived a charmed and successful life, there was the realization that if my life were to prematurely end, my mark on the world would be insignificant. The day I came to that horrible realization, I cut a deal with the Almighty that if I were made better, I would become a better person. I was made better, and I continue to work on becoming that better person. My ambition is not modest and follows a Jewish saying, whoever saves a single life saves an entire universe. On learning that I am a major supporter of ICRF, many have commented that they did not realize I was Jewish. Now, my response to them was, I did not realize it either. And I am inspired, as others should be, on how philanthropic the Jewish communities around the world are. Mahatma Gandhi wrote, faith must be enforced with reason. Faith without reason is blind and will die. And the same can be said for hope. Hope without reason is blind. Hope without reason will die. Today, people who are diagnosed with cancer can dare hope. Hope that is not blind. Hope because there is reason. And the reason is the work and perseverance of scientists and researchers, many of whom are supported by the ICRF. These people are in the forefront of the medical advancements, but all too often in the background when it comes to public recognition. This became so evident to me when I met with Dr. Eli Kanani, who spent over 20 years leading the research that led to the development of the drug I am on, Gleevec. 7 years ago, when I hosted a reception in my home, Dr. Kanani gave a talk in his thick Israeli accent, which, quite frankly, few understood. But what resonated was his passion and perseverance. And when he ended his remarks, he said, "It's finally so wonderful to meet someone who is a beneficiary of the drug." As you can imagine, what a powerful and emotional moment that was for Dr. Kanani, myself, and everyone present in the room. This experience suggests that we must do so much more to show our appreciation, and beyond the financial support, we must provide motivational support for what these people have done and continue to do. On 2 occasions, I have had the privilege of meeting in Israel with leading cancer scientists and researchers. And it was so encouraging to hear firsthand their level of confidence that chemotherapy and radiation, as we now know it, will be a thing of the past within this decade. And I'll just repeat that. Chemotherapy and radiation, as we now know it, will be a thing of the past within this decade. Because of the complexity on how cancers develop, for example, they now know the same cancers manifest themselves differently by individual, and finding a cure is becoming more elusive. However, finding more effective treatments are within their grasp. Focusing on individual treatments and drug therapies that target the cancer cells directly without harming healthy ones, basic research has proven that what was once considered a fatal condition can be turned into chronic ones. The development of Gleevec, the drug I am on, is the first generation of this form of treatment. This year, it is 40 years since Helene and the late Daniel G. Miller founded ICRF. Events such as this gives me the opportunity to express profound gratitude to them, and I take the liberty of doing so on behalf of all cancer patients who have benefited from basic research. As the founders of the ICRF, the Millers recognized that without basic research, there would be no discovery. And without funding, there would be no basic research, which would restrain the development of better treatments and ultimately a cure. Now, as in 1975, governments and the pharmaceutical industry provide little investment in basic research. And this is something we certainly must lobby for. However, we cannot wait. And now, as it was then, for discovery to occur, we must continue what the Millers started. Raising funds is one of the most challenging jobs I have ever done. And I am in awe of those who make it their vocation or cause. Those who do it effectively get people to relate to the need and internalize it by having potential supporters ask a fundamental question. What if I, or someone close to me, were at the receiving end of the need? At the beginning of my remarks, I asked you to take a moment and reflect on the extreme suffering and torture that you or someone close to you has had to endure. Now just imagine if you and those close to you had had the benefit of time so as to not have had to endure the horror and ravages of chemotherapy and radiation. Just a decade ago, I was one of a relative few who could make this claim. Today, there are multiple thousands who can. And tomorrow, with your support, millions will. Thank you so much for the generosity of your attention.